NBC reports Biden was humiliated by his debate performance and is discussing his future with his family tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, today? No, this was the 29th, so yesterday. They also say Clyburn, Jeffries, and Pelosi have all privately expressed concerns about his viability, but Jill Biden is the one who most listened to. Biden was described by one person familiar with his mood as humiliated, devoid of confidence, and painfully aware that the physical images of him at the debate, eyes staring into the distance, mouth agape, will live beyond his presidency, along with a performance that at times was meandering, incoherent, and difficult to hear. Cool. Now that's the confidence that we need from the Democratic Party. Thank you, Biden, by the way, for your selflessness in understanding how aware, but like being that aware of how decrepit you are and choosing nonetheless to rely on the advice of your wife. Like, it's like 400 million people in this country, not 400, 350 million people in this country, man. I mean, whatever, no big deal. Your opposition just made, just like gave themselves complete immunity, effectively, to crimes they commit while in office. No biggie. I like the gel. It is the exact same hairspray that I have used almost every day for 6 months. Does Trump start targeting political opponents? I mean, yeah, he literally did it last. Do you think the Pentagon will go along with this? The Pentagon doesn't have anything to do with any of this. All of this is completely outside the Pentagon's jurisdiction. Biden could do so much good with this new power to boost the Dems' popularity, but he won't use it. One of the biggest missteps from the Democrats is the fact that they've primed their own constituency to be so ginned up for like procedural institutionalist bullshit that I don't think the Democrats would respond particularly well to Biden exercising his extensive power, even if like he wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, I think that in a purely utilitarian sense, we are facing like a genuine legalist coup in this country, like comparable, I think, to what happened in the Weimar government, at least in the sense that like through the facilitation of the courts and complicit conservatives, you end up having like kind of the worst case scenario, be pushed into power legally, but then everything that happens afterwards, like legality. Who talks about legality when they talk about the Nazis? Who gives a what was legal under Nazi Germany? They could make anything they did legal. Like, who? That's not a valid framework when you're talking about a government like that. Who talks about legality when you're talking about them or Turkmenistan or Eritrea or North Korea? Like, legality is irrelevant, man. The government is completely totalitarian. They can make anything they do legal, right? At which point the liberal opposition, which is institutionalist in nature, becomes kind of irrelevant. But right now the Democratic constituency is so like keyed in on that, they go low, we go high bullshit that I don't even think that like I don't even think that Biden could resist Donald Trump in ways that would make that constituency happy. If Biden was like, yeah, this is a coup attempt, I'm shutting it down now, and house arrested Supreme Court justices, I think that a bunch of liberals would be like, whoa, you can't do that, mister. What happened to they go low, we go high? It's like that at basically every level. Is there any stopping the death of American democracy at this point? I have a solution to you that comes in the form of a ban. Thank you. Stop treating me like I'm God. Holy shit. Every day I wake up and I think, all right, what's the news? How bad is it? I see how bad the news is. Then I think, all right, how many times today are people in chat who are like eyeing the rope in the corner going to like ask me to single-handedly solve this for them? Please do not. You're not going to solve things on your own, but you can put things into perspective. Yeah, I know. I do that pretty often, I think. Thank you. You love chat treating you like you're a god. No, it's mostly just like boring. You can talk about literally any news and people like, it's always the same thing. It's always like, I'm so doomer. How do we not doomer? What do we do about this? Shut up. Come on. We're in a two-part engagement here. We're having a conversation, okay? You can't come at me with that weak shit. You can't throw coal at me, okay? You need gems. Biden administration opposes surgery for transgender minors. Let me see. Statement followed report in the Times that a federal health official urged Rachel Levine had urged an influential international transgender health organization to remove age limits for surgery for treat guidelines for minors. Wait. Staff in the office of da-da-da had urged them to remove age minimums. This seems like a nothing burger for the moment. This just seems like discourse at the moment. Just because it's coming from the New York Times doesn't mean it's interesting. No dooming and no Fed posting. Gosh, doesn't leave much wiggle room. I acknowledge it's not an easy environment to communicate in. I'm aware of this fact. Thank you. I know. Fascists aren't competent. In the 2 years after the election, they'll do something stupid like trying to ban gay marriage and lose control of Congress. Then the Republican Party will fall apart without Trump. Yeah, but like, don't forget that with the amount of power that we're talking about here, they could just like not lose federal elections in red states, for example, you know? That the Supreme Court ruled on that before as well. There are so many things they could do. I mean, we'll see. There you go, anonymous platypus. American people won't stand for that. What would the American people do you think? In a totally unrestrained, like, Donald Trump is a dictator, Heritage Foundation, Project 2025 scenario? What, like, meaningfully, what do you think they would do? What do you think the Democrats and the American people would do if Donald Trump just coordinated the assassination of a number of irritating Democratic officials? Like, genuine question, what do you think they would do? If your democracy is, if the continued existence of your democracy relies on the insane, militantly fascist opposition to never break the law, because if they did break the law, there was nothing you could do about it, you don't have a very well-protected democracy. You need to have an answer to the question, what would we do if the president of the United States ordered the assassination of opposing political officials? Because if you don't have an answer to that, you don't have a democracy. You have a democracy up until somebody actually does that. But once they do that, you don't really have a democracy anymore. You know? You don't have the big red button. Can't impeach him. There'd probably be a military uprising. That's just not a very reliable system to, that's not a good thing to defer to. Second Amendment, stop talking like you know what you're talking about. Who said anything about the Second Amendment? We're talking about the assassination of political officials here. If the Republicans did that, what, like you owning a gun in your lockbox would fix that? What are you talking about? Don't just say shit. I don't think that's true, Benjamin. I read somewhere that Biden's refusal to drop out has weirdly Trumpian characteristics because it's a blatant denial of reality. I mean, the Trumpian characteristic, I think, of Biden refusing to drop out is just that, as is always the case, the national good is being supplanted by the delusional, egotistical, you know, grandstanding of the ancient, powerful white guy. You know, like it's that is an underlying thread. I mean, that is a sort of parallel, without a doubt. Just one of them is populist, or at least pseudo-populist, and the other one is institutionalist. Genuine question, Vosh. I know the Heritage Foundation endorsed Project 2025 / made it, but is it likely to ever pass? It doesn't need to pass. It's not a thing that needs to pass. He can just do it. It's just a legal roadmap for doing the things that he wants to do. He would have to be an idiot not to do it. A lot of it is illegal. Not really. Again, a whole bunch of our institutions are really, really, really reliant on nobody ever challenging them in bad faith. Conservatives backed by the Heritage Foundation have been collecting names of federal workers. Yup. Conservative-backed group is creating a list of federal workers it suspects could resist Trump's plan. I'm on that list? You're on that list? Maybe. With a $100,000 grant from the Heritage Foundation, the goal is to post 100 names of government workers to a website this summer to show a potential new administration who might be standing in the way. What do you think the like roadmap is if part of the plan is collect a public list of federal workers who would oppose Donald Trump in his presidency? Like where do you think that goes? Let's say Trump wins, but Dems win overwhelmingly in House and Senate. I can't follow you in your hypothetical because Trump is likely to win and the Dems are not getting an overwhelming victory in the House and the Senate. It's just LARPy BS, nothing to stress about. I assume you're joking. Oh, you're not. You're the person who said Second Amendment. I'll just get rid of you now. Gonna take you out like somebody, like an inconvenient federal worker under a Trump administration. If the polls are of the devil, how can we say Trump is likely to win? None of you guys get it. None of you liberals get it, man. You think Biden's bad performance in debate 1 was something? You realize that's not just the debate, right? That's him. That means that behavior is going to be characteristic in future debates. That behavior is going to be characteristic in every moment forward for President Biden. Like, it's not just like, oh, one bad debate, but then things normalize. Like, that's the new normal, you know? I don't believe that he didn't have a cold bullshit. It was so bad that people around him, even higher ups like Pelosi, are wondering about his viability for another term, and he's just going on ahead. That's a bit of an overstep. Even with a supermajority, they cannot do what they want in Project 2025. Project 2025 is a massive roadmap. They're probably not going to get everything done. They don't need to get everything done. Also, again, what could anyone do to stop Trump if he wanted to do something through the executive office? He's not going to get impeached. He can't be criminally prosecuted. Like what's the deterrent exactly? Yeah, this shit, man. Jack Smith, seeking to avoid trial delays, had asked the justices in December to perform a fast-track review after Trump's immunity claim was rejected by Judge Tanya Chutkan that month. Rather than resolve that matter promptly, the justices denied Smith's request and let the case proceed in a lower court, which upheld Chutkan's ruling against Trump on February 6. The immunity ruling comes 20 weeks after Trump on February 12th sought relief from the Supreme Court. By contrast, it took the court less than 9 weeks in another major case to reinstate Trump to the presidential primary ballot in Colorado after he appealed a lower court's ruling that had disqualified him for engaging in insurrection by inciting and supporting the attacks in the U.S. Capitol. The Supreme Court has been deliberately delaying to the greatest possible extent they could to make it impossible to proceed with these charges against Donald Trump. Like, it's not even remotely subtle. The bias is open. What do we do about this? You can't do anything about it, you child. What are you talking about? Does everything need to be framed through what you personally like? Sometimes you just have to observe life happening. You can't. There's nothing you can do about this.